When was the first time you heard of each other and what was your first impression?
I mean, I think we've known the Circle team for a very long time. And this was very much before stablecoins became super mainstream, and it's now powering a lot of the global financial ecosystem. And I think it really started at the regulatory level, us sort of having continuous conversations with regulators, both in Asia and the US. And that obviously came to a pretty interesting experience at F1, where we really got to know each other on a very intimate level. And it's really cascaded and proliferated from there, where we are now very, very close partners across a myriad of different products that we do. And we continue thinking about Circle very closely, even as we expand across product lines, across geographic boundaries. And I think this partnership will continue to form. And Yam Ki has been a great sort of almost mentor for me in terms of how he leads and how he thinks about the world, especially as it relates to stablecoins. So it's been a incredible relationship for myself personally, but obviously from a REIT perspective as well.
It's awfully gracious of you. I've known of REIT. We've had a relationship with Circle before I even joined Circle. And as someone that's from Hong Kong, I'm obviously drawn to businesses and fintechs that are building in the city. Right. And you were one of the leaders for that. But to me, partnerships and relationships are not moments in time, especially here in Asia. It's really around the endurance, the time spent together, going through not only announcing of deals, but also challenging times together. And what I found is that the REIT team has always been very mission driven. How do you solve problems? What can we do? How do we help? And then at the executive level, just spending time together. I mean, you mentioned F1. I think even by then we have been seeing each other quite a bit, different ways, but that was a more intentional time to be centered on looking at, talking through different things as we're spending time watching the
seminal moment for me, for sure.
The cars going around. But I think to me, it's what I've really admired about you and about the REIT team is that you're serious about what you do. It's not like other sort of crypto companies that are just there for the moment. You've been in the payments business for a very long time, and then you brought on the use of stablecoins, and then you've been building and rebuilding your entire platform on that, and to be able to lead the team through that was really amazing. And I remember coming to your office in Hong Kong when you guys were opening your new Hong Kong office. 7 years, and it was a really big deal, and I'm really happy to be a part of that. So you were one of the first fintechs in Asia to build on USDC for payments, for card issuance. At the time, it wasn't that obvious. What made you believe stablecoins like USDC was right for REIT?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different things. I think one, it starts with the customer, right? I think Hong Kong, Asia, unlike other paradigm shifting technologies, it has an important pioneering role to play within stablecoins and crypto, and it has always had that role. So there's a lot of talent, capital that's demanding for better financial service access, and I think stablecoins was very much the best version of that compared to legacy financial providers. And then if you combine that with the fact that like financial services has not evolved and been enhanced at a fundamental level for decades, the demand from the customers, as well as sort of from a first principles perspective on how the world should work, I think that combination made it very obvious that stablecoins, USDC, was going to be a critical part of what financial services in the next evolution looked like. Now, I think the role for REIT was to find proof points so that the layman, the everyday, small business could fundamentally understand the benefits and the utility of stablecoins. So being able to connect that to, a card, to payment rails, so that they can actually pay for goods and services, experience the speed and cost benefits of stablecoins. That was, I think, the first hurdle of many that we needed to sort of prove out. I think the second thing is the fact that Asia and it is very much different than other developed markets where it's been built for international companies.
Yes.
And because of that, the complexities of cross-border payments, the complexities of not having strong financial institutions like the US to be able to facilitate money movement, that has always been a challenge, right? So from that perspective, we needed something that was more fluid, that enabled more financial flows to be happening at internet speeds. And that's where I think stablecoins and the problems that are associated with Asia and the role that Asia has as it relates to international trade and commerce made it very obvious as a sort of a fertile ground for stablecoins and stablecoin-backed cards and payments to really proliferate. And that's where we were very confident in working with stablecoins and USDC specifically.
Yeah, in many ways, it's sort of when you think of the challenge for Asia, people use, especially in the US, when they was about Asia as this like giant monolithic place. But the challenge of Asia is the fragmentation and the complexity. But therein lies the opportunity for stablecoin, right? That it is essentially like internet rails, right? HTTPS for moving money on the internet, and I think that has really brought the broader region together and be able to transact across border in a very meaningful way. Thank you.
So let's bring this back to me and Reap. And from Circle's side, what was it that we did or that you saw in Reap early on that made us stand out? And now that the stablecoin journey and the USDC journey has grown quite a bit, you guys are a public company, global issuer. And at this stage, what kind of use cases or new use cases are you guys excited about for USDC adoption, and how do you guys bring that to new heights?
Let me start with the first part of the question: is what made Reap stand out? First and foremost, we're looking for companies that are providing real utility to the marketplace. And you were already in the payments business. You were already a principal card issuer. You already worked with a number of small medium enterprises, as well as some of the larger ones, to help them make payments easier. Then the question became, where does USDC fit in your infrastructure to make your operations better? And then how does that help you expand and build your business, create additional value, not just for you, but really for your customers? And the stablecoin cards, the ability to have top-ups using stablecoins like USDC was a huge, I think, game changer for you, and then also helping you to move your treasury management and be able to offer that to some of your partners as well. And that's one of the other pieces around the builders. And it's easy to have an idea. It's much harder to actually go and build it out and then do the reps. And you and having your team really did that, and that was really good to see. And we were learning together. We were trying to figure things out, like how does the money move on the fiat side? How does it actually get minted? Where do you send it on? We've started with USDC. We look at USYC, the tokenized money market fund, all these other stuff that it's easier when you have a partner that have gone through the journey, understand the benefits of blockchain, understand how you work with us and how we work with you, and then have the compliance mindset to really grow the business. So those are a couple things. In terms of what's next, we are just getting started. And I mean, we, not just Circle and Reap, but we as an industry, we're still so early. When you think about the size of the stablecoin market, it's a couple $100 billion. We're about 78 billion today, but money is in the tens of trillions. So when you think of money moving onto the blockchain, it's just early. When you look at tokenized money market fund, USYC is the largest tokenized money market fund, around $3 billion today. The tokenized money market fund market is $8 trillion. Again, just getting started. So what's next? A couple of things. One is the passage of the Genius Act in the United States, Stablecoin Ordinance in Hong Kong, the Payment Services Act in Japan, MiCA in Europe, means that institutions are now coming in a very serious way into the digital asset, the blockchain platform. Before, they have been dabbling and they've been kind of at the edge of it. They were trying to do it from an innovation perspective. Now they're really coming on to the blockchain. They're integrating with us directly to be able to bring those services, not only within the bank, but also to their customers. And that's a real major shift that's been happening over the last 6-7 months. So that's one piece. The second piece is we are at this amazing time where as blockchain adoption becomes mainstream and institutional, AI is becoming mainstream and institutional. And the part about digital money that is now being unlocked is the programmability, the agentic payments part of money, where you can now have movement of money, not just between two institutions, but two bots, between two entities through their bots or through their wallets to be able to do programmatic payments. We just launched a product that allows for nano-payments, where you can pay and move money almost gas-free in 1/1,000,000th of a penny. Right? So the ability to move money really like electrons on the internet will be a major game changer in terms of what new use cases will be built. Not just by us, but really by our partners and for all the other startups and builders and developers that have yet to come online.
Yeah, it's funny. We should definitely sort of sync on that. I think one of the use cases that we're very excited about, especially in emerging markets, is payroll streaming, right? The ability to be paid every second or millisecond that you're working. And infrastructure that we have today is just fundamentally not set up to support those type of use cases. And while it may not be important for developed market consumers, I think for certain markets where it's emerging, they're of a certain socioeconomic class, I think these are the type of access to capital, access to funds that will be life-changing for some of them, right? And so those are the use cases that we're really excited to partner with.
Absolutely, looking forward to it.
Since the first time we met, stablecoins have become this little niche crypto thing to something that regulators worldwide are extremely excited about and actively legislating. What's one shift in the past 12 to 18 months that surprised you the most?
Great question. The one thing that surprised me is we had expected that with legislations coming into place that the institutions will come online. That was always part of the thinking. But the speed and the intensity at which they're coming to us is something that I haven't experienced before. In my couple years, 3 years at Circle, I have spent more time with C-levels at banks and boardrooms and management offsites in the last 6 to 8 months than I had in the 2.5 years before that. It used to be this thing that was like at the edge of the conversation, that they were in the mix. It wasn't as if we weren't talking, but it went from let's meet at the sides of conferences to let me actually bring you into the most intimate part of my bank or my institution, and let's figure out how do we work together, how do we build this thing. And for these institutions, not just the largest ones, what's really interesting is the sort of tier 2 and tier 3 institutions that have been, I think, riding on the larger institutions. They're saying, wait a minute, now we can actually compete on equal, level playing field. And that's really changing how they're thinking about it. And then of course, the other piece is as institutions, they are now thinking about agentic payments. They're thinking about how they can build additional revenue sources and revenue streams that was difficult to do before because moving money was hard. Now they're able to do new things. That'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I think stablecoins, more than anything else, is a catalyst for change, right? Like there's been, we talk about mobile really sort of driving a different user experience for consumers everywhere, but financial services have stayed relatively the same, right? Especially in emerging markets. And I think stablecoins is catalyzing this shift to be more digital, to be more digital faster, especially in emerging markets where they're almost like recognizing problems that they've always had, but it's been hidden underneath the surface. But now, because everyone's sort of talking about stablecoins in this way, they're rethinking from first principles on exactly how financial services should work from a very baseline first principles perspective. And that's super exciting as we think about incorporating the best technology, the best infrastructure to be able to provide the best service and user experience to consumers and businesses everywhere.
Yeah, in our industry, in fintech, people have talked about the unbanked or the underbanked for a very, very long time. And fundamentally, the challenge was you had to go through certain banks.
Totally.
And now the shackles have been taken off, and you can actually integrate with different banks, different non-banks, different institutions, wallets. And we're not going to solve it overnight, but the white space to build and how people will essentially use digital dollars and digital yen and digital Hong Kong dollars, whatever it may be, to build their business, to reach their customers, that's going to shift in a pretty significant way.
Where do you think Circle and you are headed together?
To the glory land. I think there's still, as Yam Ki mentioned, we're still very early days in the building journey, right? I think the building stack for financial services is fundamentally changing, and it will continue to evolve with developments like AI, agentic payments, where things that we even take for granted of being able to move money from point A to point B, that's a very sort of simplistic primitive based on archaic infrastructure, right? That concept in of itself. So I do think that as Agentic comes online, even more meaningful and material ways, there's going to be a ton that stablecoin issuers and stablecoin utility players like ourselves will be able to drive those use cases forward, taking into account the problems that we don't see as readily in the emerging markets in places like Latin America and Africa. So really going to understand the customer's pain points, I think, is going to be the first step of many to be able to build for this new financial services world.
There's so many things that we can work on. At a base level, we started with USDC as the dollar liquidity essentially in your platform. We're adding USYC, which is the you earning tokenized money market fund in your platform. We can do Circle Payments Network, the ability for your customers to be able to send funds anywhere in the world and get that paid out in stablecoins or in local fiat through various partners. And then there is the Economic OS, ARC, which is the new blockchain that we'll be launching very soon. The ability for you to leverage that network to have interoperability across different blockchains, to be able to move funds across, to be able to build different sets of applications, to have privacy built in, to have instant settlement, and then to be plugged into a larger ecosystem of partners that are also building on that platform. It's like the early days of when Windows opened. And you can not only build just for one operating system and one platform, but really be able to connect to different databases and other things. Like that will be like enormously fascinating. And then of course, AI and agentic payments. That I think will be we're just getting started as an industry.